Hello and welcome. Well, we all know it's far too easy to put on a kilo or two during the cold winter months. And at this time of year, that comfort food is at its best. Now, coupled with this, not everyone is a fan of the cold, and the thought of heading outdoors for a brisk walk or a run is usually replaced with sitting on the couch with a hot cup of tea or coffee. But winter 2020 has these challenges and then some. So depending what state and or territory that you're in, we have isolation, working from home, social distancing. These are just some of the many measures that we're taking to ensure our safety. However, they are, of course, meaning that we are moving less, and some of us are gaining some unwanted corona kilos. So jokes aside, this is starting to raise some health concerns with some industry experts. So the question is, how can we stay fit and healthy in ISO 2.0? Well, today we welcome our special guest, Ben Lucas, to talk to us all about this. Now, Ben is the director of Flow Athletic, father of two, and celebrity trainer to Erin, Holland, Sammy Robinson, and Talitha Cummins. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Pleasure. I'm as good as I possibly could be right now.
Now, winter months can be challenging to stick to an exercise regime, and you would know all too well about this with cooler months and shorter daylight hours. And throughout your career, Ben, you've probably heard every excuse under the sun. So initially, I'd love to know, what are some of the more creative excuses that you've heard throughout your career, simply why someone just couldn't turn up to a training session in winter?
Probably one of the better ones that they couldn't find matching socks. Uh,
That's hilarious.
that,
Yeah,
that's probably
the most
the best one
creative.
of
Yeah. My
yeah.
partner actually never wears matching socks. It drives me absolutely bananas. So he wouldn't have that excuse whatsoever. He wears
Yeah, he wouldn't miss a section there.
unmatching socks every day. Of course, throughout what we're going through at the moment, family priorities have changed throughout COVID, and I guess with health and well-being and safety, of course, being the most paramount things that families thinking and wanting in their lives. Many would think that, staying fit and active would be on a lower list of priorities at the moment for families. However, it's just as important as ever. So I'd just love to know your thoughts on that initially.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think like a lot of people feeling this way, they're under stress, in society. Work is hard and changed. Schooling's hard, it's changed. Even leaving the house is hard, it's changed. So they think, I don't want another thing to worry about as well, eating well, exercise, so I won't do it. However, that's kind of only a negative kind of cycle, because you actually feel worse for not eating or exercising, aesthetics aside, and then
Yeah.
it makes it harder to deal with the stressful situations. So outside of, putting on weight, muscle mass, body fat, etc., just doing the exercise and the nutrition for your mental health during this, one of the most, if not the most challenging time in our lifetimes, is important just for your sanity and your ability to be able to help work, lead your family, be a good parent, be a good partner, etc.
Absolutely. And for anyone watching and listening, and this is as a disclaimer, this chat today isn't a talk about staying trim and lean. It's really about how we can ensure that we are maintaining physical strength, keeping up our energy and supporting our mental health. I'd really love to know from your perspective, how would you describe the benefits of staying fit and active during winter? I know you've mentioned some of them. Is there anything else in particular? There's mental health, there's the strength. Anything else
Look,
that I've missed at all?
yeah, so if you, exercise regularly, you sleep better, when you sleep better, your brain functions better, you've got more energy. So again, yeah, aesthetics aside, you just feel better, and you're able to work, parent, homeschool, whatever it is at the moment, better with that regular exercise.
Yeah, and for these reasons, this is why parents really should be making it a priority to fit in time for their health and well-being during isolation. Now, of course, in Victoria and throughout New South Wales, many of us are heading into and or already in our second round of isolation, and many are finding it a little bit more difficult to keep up their motivation levels. And people are facing all types of financial pressures, stresses, job losses, all that sort of stuff. Now, exercising in times of stress is hugely beneficial for our mind and our body. So I'd love to know from your perspective, can you tell us why and how this can actually help benefit our mental health?
Yeah, yes, sure. So just from the regular exercise itself, what it does to your brain, what it does to your stress hormones, what it does to your feel good hormones is almost the best thing you can do for your mental health. It's proven is regular exercise. So, and people, they may not be able to visit their gyms at the moment. They may be, scared to visit their gyms if they can, which is fair enough too. You don't have to go and run a marathon. It could be just, doing, 50 push-ups a day. Could be doing some squats. Could be doing, step-ups. Could be doing aerobics on TV, whatever. Just block out 30 minutes a day that nothing else can happen in that time, that you're going to do some form of exercise, and your brain and body will feel so much better for it.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for a parent, let's say, that may be considering home workouts the first time round? So now that we're in ISO 2.0, maybe they didn't do it in the first round of isolation, but now this time around they're like, damn, I've really got to get into this stuff now. So what advice do you have, and what inspiration would you say to someone that's considering home workouts for the first time?
Sure. So the first bit of advice is block it out in your diary and keep that appointment with yourself. So that's the most important thing, that when you've locked in that appointment, that no matter what happens, you exercise when, if you've booked in at 7:30 or 7:30, come hell or high water, I'm doing that session. That means I've got to put a baby over my shoulder while I do step-ups in the backyard. Well, then
Whatever works.
And you don't need fancy equipment, just your body weight is fine. Push-ups, squats, sit-ups, lunges, dips, etc., all available online, on the internet, on YouTube or whatever. There are thousands of at-home body weight free workouts that you could do that are suited to every fitness level and body type.
Yeah. Now, we will speak about some of this stuff more in a moment, but before we do, we published your article titled "A Celebrity Trainer Shares His Top 5 Ways to Keep Fit whilst in Isolation." Now, for someone who hasn't yet read the article, can you please tell us what it's about? And tell us, Ben, what inspired you to write it?
Look, I myself am a parent. I've got 2 young children, as you said. I have been in isolation as well. I've got a beautiful wife. So, I'm just like anyone else. I feel the struggles and challenges to exercise and eat well. But I know when I do those things, I feel better for it. I've got 30 staff that work for me. I've got a community of 1,000 people that look for me for advice and leadership. So this is some of the advice I share to them to help them get through this challenging time.
Awesome. And we'll have the link through to that article, which has got some great stuff. And we're going to speak about some more content in the article in just a moment. But one of the first things I noticed when I was reading the article, you mentioned about hybrid workouts. So can you maybe just explain what are a few examples of hybrid workouts and what are they?
So hybrid workouts are doing, a number of different things in the one workout. So you might do some strength training. Say if you are outside in a park, you might do push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and then go for a jog, or you might do boxing, inside with a partner that's holding pads for you, and then you do some yoga afterwards to stretch down. So it's just 2 different modalities of training in the one workout, so you get different positive effects for your body, and it's great for your brain as well, keeping it fresh with the variety as well.
So this is 2 different types of workouts within your workout time frame. Is that right?
In the one session, yeah.
All right, cool. So what's the benefits of doing this? I mean, I would think you'd save on time and can burn more fat, would you say as well?
Yeah, yeah, and you get the benefits. You could get the strength and cardio workout, so you get the cardio and flexibility workout. So you just get a number of different benefits sandwiched in the one time. Especially, we are all time poor at the moment, just because we've got so many conflicting priorities. So you're getting the most
Absolutely.
bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah. And with that, with home workouts, if somebody isn't able to purchase any workout equipment, I guess we can be creative with this sort of stuff. Now, I hear that Bunnings is a great place to buy items you can use in your workout. That being stuff, even like sandbags that can replace weights,
Yeah.
and even things we have around the home, in the garage, tins of paint. And I've even heard there's even a guy that has workouts about filling a suitcase for heavier weights. I'd love to know just initially, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I actually did a workout with Brooke Boney on the Today Show whilst we're in lockdown, just using household items. So I
Great.
filled up, son's backpack with books, and you can hold that for step ups or squats, using a bottle of Omo for rows or bicep curls, using tin cans out of the cupboard for bicep curls, using a chair for squats or dips. So there's so many household items that you can use, using a washing basket for deadlifts. The house is full of weight. You don't need a fancy set of weights. You just need something that has weight to it, and use that for your exercise. So again, the internet, especially now more than ever, is absolutely bursting with content that wants to help you exercise at home.
Yeah, so you're telling me there's no excuse, right? There's no excuses now.
No, there absolutely isn't. And it's just about the inertia of the situation.
Yeah,
If you get into a good habit that you go, right, I'm doing 30 minutes a day, and you just lock it in and you keep on doing it, you don't want to miss that workout. But if you get stuck in a bit of a rut where you're not doing it, it's much harder to get it going. So maybe you need a friend, an accountability buddy to you both do it at the same
great
time.
idea. Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
FaceTime each other and do it on the same time, or Zoom, or whatever it is.
Cool. And
Yeah.
I'd love to know, what are your, let's just say, three best exercises for a person who would like to train low impact, just to keep themselves healthy and moving. Do you have
Sure.
any ideas here?
So if you're at home without any weights, just the three basic ones I would do are a squat, a lunge, and a push-up. Those three things. So your legs are the biggest muscles in your body. So using those muscles is going to burn the most energy. Push-up's going to use your chest, shoulders, triceps, but it's almost like a plank, a moving plank as well. So you're going to use a lot of abdominal muscles too. So those three movements are simple to do. Pretty much everyone can do them, and they're going to get your metabolism firing as well.
And I hear low impact is when 2 feet stay on the ground. Is that right?
No, it doesn't have to be so. You can do a one-legged squat that's low impact. It's just that it's not high intensity. It's just low intensity.
Okay. So moving on to high intensity, what exercises can you suggest for someone who's looking for maybe a higher intensity interval training session at home?
Yeah, at home you can do like a shadow boxing workout at home. You can get a skipping rope out.
Great
At
idea.
home.
Yeah.
But like you forget, like you remember, when you're a kid, you'd be able to skip for hours, but minutes is a challenging workout with a skipping rope. So if your body feels up for it, skipping is an absolutely phenomenal workout.
Yeah. And we hear a lot about body weight exercises, and you mentioned it earlier on. So can you just tell us what body weight exercises are?
Sure. So that is just exercises not using equipment, and just using your own body as the piece of equipment. So
Okay.
squat, push-ups, burpees, lunges, dips, all of those things. just using your own body weight as the resistance.
Cool. So then if we're doing workouts at home, how long should home workouts really sort of go for? And how many times per week also should people really be exercising just to stay fit and healthy?
Sure. Look, if you can go for 30 minutes workouts a week, that's going to keep things mentally and physically tracking along.
Yeah. And stretching obviously before and after exercising is important. Why do you think it is really important for our body?
So I would focus on just probably a 3-minute warm up before. So that's just like you were saying, the lower intensity, getting the heart rate up, and then say a 5-minute stretch at the end, just help you recover and help you get ready for the next time you work out.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And, there's a saying, which I've heard and said a few times, but you can't out-train a bad diet. So in your article, you share some really great sort of diet tips. So for the moment, could you maybe just go through those 5 diet tips to share with anyone watching or listening?
Sure. So first one is just making sure you eat a lot of greens or a lot of veg with your meals. So why greens in particular? So they're the lower carbohydrates. They're very filling, but they've got less energy in them. They've got lots of micronutrients, vitamins, fiber that's going to keep you full for longer as well, but have you consuming less of the bad stuff as well. So eating more greens is the first one. The second one is eating enough protein as well. So protein is the building block of life. Protein is the building block of your body. So you can't build muscle mass or increase your metabolism without eating protein. So what is protein? Chicken, beef, fish, tofu. You can find it in dairy, eggs, things like that. So making sure you're eating enough protein. And again, protein's filling as well too. Some people, they think that when they need to eat well, they need to cut out all carbohydrates. And that's not necessarily so. You need to eat carbohydrates for energy. It's about where are you getting these carbs from. So try to eat less refined carbohydrates. So what does refined carbohydrate means? It's coming out of a packet. So you like breads, pastas, all those sugary type carbohydrates we want to reduce, but we want to get them from fruit, sweet potato, brown rice, things like that. Provide good, wholesome energy sources. Another one, just don't eat too much oil in your diet as well. A lot of people add oil to think that's good. Some good fats, but even too much good fat is bad. And at the moment, people are snacking all day. So just try to be aware and not over snack, because you're going to really eat more food than you need if you're picking all day.
I've heard many people say it's almost like everyone's eating breakup food, because we're sort of having broken up with the way that life was before or what we had planned. And we're sort of, now having to live a different life to maybe what people are wanting to choose. And, so it is sort of that high, that the food that's high in salts and sugars and that sort of stuff. So,
and I completely understand, but you actually feel worse for it, and when you feel worse for it, you feel less like exercising. When you don't exercise, you feel like eating bad food, and then kind of around and around it goes,
Yeah.
So draw a line in the sand and
Yeah.
start eating more and exercise regularly.
And all the immune boosting foods, which is our fruit and veg and all that good stuff, and eat the rainbow, because we obviously need to be as healthy as possible with everything that's going around with COVID. Now, also, you're a busy dad, so do you have any tips for staying on track when you have just young kids?
Yeah. So I tried to incorporate my kids in the exercise as well.
Cool.
That's so my son Oliver's 4 next week.
Oh,
so
gorgeous.
him and I try to do 30 minutes of exercise a day. So there's a 3K loop near my house that he will ride and I will jog with him. So if we do that every day, at least we get, he's getting his exercise in every day and I'm getting my exercise as well. And it's a good bonding time for us as well. So I think that's very important. I want to keep him active and really to enjoy being exercise. I also want to get my exercise in as well, but also not at the expense of spending time with him.
Love it. Great idea. And I mean, that being said, what else can parents do in order to prioritize their health and well-being? Sleep would be one, I would think. But is there anything else that you can maybe suggest?
Look, probably the biggest change I've made positive change to my life in 2020 is just getting to bed half an hour earlier, and all that's mean is just watching a half hour less television. And, I'm up at 4:40 every day.
Ouch. With matching socks.
With matching socks. My kids are in by 7 p.m., and then sometimes the habit is to go down and just mindlessly watch TV for a couple hours just to kind of zone out after a big day. But, being disciplined to go, right, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm in bed, read for half an hour and fall asleep. Well, that's probably been the biggest positive change I've made to my health, is just getting to bed that half hour early. So that's a discipline like anything else.
Oh, I love that word, discipline. Yes. Yes.
Is getting to bed when you said to yourself you're going to get in bed. Because I have, again, many clients that their results suffer because they're not getting enough sleep. They're not getting enough sleep because they're not disciplined. Like speaking to one the other day, I just stayed up watching movies all night and I got 3 hours sleep, so her training's bad, her work was bad, her food was bad because of that, but you don't need to watch those movies. Your life's much better for not doing that, so just using the discipline of getting to bed on time, and your life really has a number of positive knock-on effects for that.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that, Ben. You mentioned also about scheduling and making time for your workouts and to plan your exercise. A lot of people do this sometimes in a week in advance too. So with parents that, both maybe say working from home, scheduling is something that, putting things into the diary, into the calendar. If both parents sort of share the load and lock in a time for their weekly schedule, would you suggest this is something else that could potentially work as well?
Yeah. Look, like my wife and I are fortunate that I own a business and I don't work too far from home, so that I can go home and mind our young daughter while she goes for a workout. But it is good that we can work together. I think husband and wife need to plan together, because exercise is important for you to be a better parent, like it just is.
Yes.
So how can you work together that you both can get your exercise in and you still get to plan, have time with your families, but you share that load together? So that's something very important, yes.
Yeah. And you mentioned about planning, and like planning meals in advance can sometimes help as well. For example, even just listing the meals on the weekends that you're going to maybe sort of, eat in the week sort of coming up. So, and this way you can take note, I guess, of what you're spending and all that sort of stuff as well. So, is there anything else you could maybe suggest with planning meals and how that can sort of work in with just keeping sort of fit and active and healthy at all?
Well, again, we're talking about discipline before. The other big word for me is preparation. So if you don't know what you're going to eat the day ahead, well, you're unlikely to eat well. So I want my clients to know exactly what's going on in their day the next day. So when they get breaks, when they're going to be able to eat and what they're going to be able to eat at those times as well, preferably that they've either prepped that, they've bought that, or they know what healthily they're going to buy at that time. Because again, if you don't prepare for success, well, you're going to get ready for failure, and you're going to eat something poor, and you're going to feel worse for it.
Yeah. Now, we'll mention at the start that you are a celebrity trainer. What are some of the biggest issues that you're seeing from your clients in terms of their ISO and post-ISO training?
What is some of their biggest? Look, it's a bit of depression, it's stress, it's lack of motivation.
Yep.
I think people right now, they don't know how long this is going to go for, and they're kind of like, well, what's the point? So it's my job to keep them focused, motivated, inspired, to know that your health is important, because you're important to so many people.
Yes.
So, and just when you exercise regularly, you just feel better about yourself and about life as well. So just helping them just to break the ice, just to get back into a regular routine, and that helps them feel better. And again, we only used to do face-to-face, one-on-one personal training. Now I do personal training through FaceTime, over Zoom, through Facebook Messenger, so there's so many technological ways you can access people, support, friends now to help you along your journey,
And I mean, do you have any other tips, I guess, to help parents feel their best at the moment? You've just mentioned about a regular routine. Would that be one of the key elements, just to setting a schedule and having that routine and having that discipline that you've spoken about?
I think like a regular, if you can, going to bed and waking time as well. That's kind of because some people's work schedules are thrown off at the moment. They're like, I don't know what time to go to bed. I don't know what time to get up. I don't know which way I'm going, left, right, up and down. So just to put yourself in a routine, even if your routine's gone out the window. I go to bed at this time, I get up at this time, I exercise at this time, I work here, I play with the kids then. That even though if you're on your own schedule, create a schedule, create a timetable that's going to help benefit your life holistically.
Yes, and just to prioritize health and fitness and wellness overall. And that's going to sort of combat some of those things that you've just mentioned, you've seen in your clients, which everyone is experiencing subconsciously or consciously at some point, and have sort of experienced. So definitely everything you've shared with us has been really, really useful and critical for us to also to take on board. So if you were to summarize your key messages from what we've spoken about today, what would they be?
It would be to prioritize your exercise. By doing so, just book in appointments in your diary for yourself, with yourself, that you're going to keep to the exercise. Two would be schedule some exercise time in with your children. Let them ride a new run, or do some exercises, squats, push-ups, sit-ups with them, which is a fun activity. With your nutrition, it's try to eat less processed food, try to eat more fruit and veg, and try to eat more lean protein. Nutrition isn't rocket science, it's just consistency.
Yeah.
Try to get regular sleep as well. Try to get enough sleep. That'll be an absolute game changer with your health and wellness too. Just going to bed half an hour early every night, an extra 4 hours of sleep, that's half an hour of sleep a week. It will actually make a big difference.
Yeah. Great advice. Now, if parents have got any questions for you and or want to find out more about Flow Athletic, whereabouts can they find you? Can you just tell us a little bit about your business too? And you mentioned offline before that you guys are moving to an online program. Is it in September, did you say?
Yeah, September 1, our online program launches. So we've got a physical studio. We've got 1,000 square meters in Paddington. So we've got a yoga studio, a Pilates studio, a spin studio, a strength studio, and we've got a personal training studio as well. So we do 160 group exercise classes a week, plus we do personal training. So we've been here for 8 years.
Oh,
of the year. Yeah, we've got a good little business, great community, 30 staff, but we're moving to the online space as well, just because people want that as well as the physical membership. And part two is we don't know how long life will be in and out of this way, so we want to be able to assist the most people we can.
Yes, fantastic. So when that comes around, would be more than happy to share that out to our audience as well. So families all around Australia can access your program and that sort of stuff. But Ben, I've really enjoyed this chat today. It's been awesome. Take care, and hopefully we can have a chat again in the not too distant future. Take care. Stay safe.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.